Okay, continuing on with the update for interfacing with the Doctor Within. This is part 2 of 6. The things that we are talking about in this series is the topics, and we're going ahead with part 2. We already talked about the schematic diagram. All this was covered in part 1. And we also got a chance to look at the apparatus in part 1. Okay, now going ahead with some new information here is the connection diagram. And yes, I can see it's very small as well as you. You might be hard to read, but it's also at my blog too. So you're able to look at it and download it and do whatever you want with it. So anyway, looking at the connection diagram, the GSR is connected to an adapter, and then another adapter, and then going into volume control, and then there's a cord that connects there, and a mixer, and another cord. And all that goes into a Y adapter. And also too in the Y adapter is the microphone from my headset. And all of these from the Y adapter go into recorder 2. And the output from recorder 2 goes into the headphone, which I'm able to hear the response. The numbers in parentheses refer to the parts list numbers that we're going to be talking about next, and the dashed lines are sound waves. And again, the print is very small here, but all this information is at my blog that you'll be able to print it out and go to the hyperlinks and all that other stuff. Continuing on here, it tells how to connect up all of the parts, and it also talks about how to adjust the whole system, and it also talks about how this might work. And I'd like to emphasize here that there is no magic in the selection of parts and connections and operations, etc. for this gizmo. Mostly I'm just putting it out there for something to work with, for myself and maybe for you and for others. But I'm sure hoping that you can do much better, and I sure would like to hear about it, so there might be others who would like to hear about it too. Going ahead, for me, I'd like to see all these devices battery operated. I think it's just a good idea, rather than having some of the devices plugged into the wall outlet, the 120 volt wall outlet. I think this is just a good safety thing. How this works is I ask myself a question, and this can be either my own voice, or it can be guided imagery on recorder 1, or it could be questions on recorder 1, or it could be another person. And what happens is when I hear the question in my ears, I answer the question by my own voice, if I have an answer, and/or the galvanic skin response, which is automatic, that goes on behind the scenes, behind my consciousness. Recorder 2 records the question and my voice answer, if any, and the galvanic skin response, if any. And after the whole session is recorded and completed, the holistic answer is evaluated. The reason why I say holistic is that it consists of an answer from my conscious as well as an answer from my subconscious. And as I said, it's a composite. Now, as far as interpreting the results, I'm still in the learning process here. But however, I'm making use of a lot of the techniques that are used in polygraphy to help me in my work. Perhaps some of the things you may have heard about in polygraphy examination are the concealed information test. And I think this is most helpful to me at this time. But however, I'm still learning, and I'll be sure and tell you about what I learned. The recorders mentioned could be tape recorders, the actual tape, the old-time tape recorders. That's what I started out with. But then I decided to go to digital recorders. And sometimes I also use a computer for computer analysis. The question mentioned could be guided imagery, another person asking, or it can be even a list of written questions which my eyes look at. I might not even have to say the question, but I usually do, because all that is recorded on Recorder 2. Here is what the waveform of a session looks like on the PC. I do use Audacity, which is a free open source program for analysis. Looking at the picture, the horizontal line, the small waveform there, or the small part, is the GSR response. And of course I can't show you much on the PowerPoint presentation here. But the GSR does go up and down through time. The spikes, you might say, on this waveform are either my answer, or perhaps it was a question that was pre-recorded on Recorder 1. Okay, we're done with part 2 of 6. We got more to do. If you're interested, please continue on part 3, and we're going to be talking more about how I think it works and a whole bunch of other things.